Hello, geometry students. Today's learning target is to be able to calculate the volume of a prism or a cylinder. All right, let's get started and review our definitions. To be a prism or a cylinder, you have parallel congruent bases. I have an example right over here with a pentagon. And our formula is really quite simple. You take the area of the base times the height. And this is the formula you'll want to have listed for these. And it's important to note that this big B is referring to the area of the base. And then the height here, another way to think of it is the distance between the bases. So the distance between our two bases. So right over here, I've got a pentagonal prism. And quite conveniently, they already gave me the area of the base. They said it's 30. And so I've got it shaded down here, and we've got the parallel base up here. And you'll notice, because it's area, it's centimeters squared. So to find this volume, all I have to do is plug in 30 times the height. The height is the distance between the two bases, which is 8. And when we multiply that out, we get 240 centimeters cubed. Now, it is super important that we can pick out the bases, and the bases aren't always on the top and bottom. So for instance, on this one here, we've got the base on top and bottom, the way we like to see it often. And we can see that our base here is an octagon. Over here, though, this bottom rectangle is not our base because I don't have a rectangle on top. In fact, my base is this triangle because parallel to it on the other side, I have another triangle over here. And then over here, my base is the circle. I've got a circle here that is congruent to this other circle. So I've identified my bases with the blue crayon, and now what is my height in each one? And I'll pull out my pen here. The height here is this distance between the two bases. Here the height goes up and down between the two bases, and here my height is actually on a diagonal between my two bases. All right, let's try out a problem. In this problem, we've got a cylinder. And so we know its volume equals base times height. We know our base is a circle, so I'm going to replace the base with pi r squared because that is the area of a circle. And in this particular one, I have my radius right there. It's 2. So pi times 2 squared times my height, which it says 1.5. Now I can just simply multiply this out. So that's 4. 4 times 1.5 is 6. So I could write my answer as 6 pi. Or if you like, you can always make that into a decimal as well. And so 6 pi is about 18.85. About 18.85. And our units, in this case, it looks like are meters cubed. Because remember, volume is measured in cubic units. All right, we've got one more example for us. This time we can see we have a prism, and we'll notice that the base is the triangle at the front and at the back. So I have a triangular prism. Now I'm going to start with the same formula, which is that volume equals base times height. And this might get slightly confusing because my formula for a triangle is 1/2 base times height, but this is a different base. So I'm going to make this a capital H, meaning the height of the prism, and this is a lowercase base and height because this is the height and base of my triangle. All right, so we got to keep that all straight in our heads. All right, so let's go ahead and work with the triangle first. So my triangle, remember the base and height must be perpendicular. And I see that right here I've got a height of 7.8 and a base of 9. So 1/2, my triangular base is 9 and its height is 7.8. All right, and then I have the height, which is the height of the prism, and that height is the distance between those two bases, and that's this 12. So we'll put a 12 right in there. And then all that's left for me to do now is to multiply this out. Let's see, this first part was 35.1. And this part was 12 still. And then if it's all multiplied together, let's see, that comes out to 421.2. And this time our units were centimeters, so the volume would be centimeters cubed.